Hello and welcome back to Game of Trades, your #1 channel for videos on the stock market and cryptocurrencies. This video is going to be focused on Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the technical picture on Bitcoin. Right now, we're going to talk about the leverage that we have in the market. Are we headed for another liquidation event, or are we more likely to get a powerful short squeeze move on Bitcoin in the next couple of weeks? And of course, we're going to take a look at a variety of different developments, bullish and bearish, that we've seen on Bitcoin throughout the past couple of weeks. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what type of setup we have on Bitcoin right now. Is it a long opportunity? Is it time to be accumulating this asset? Or are we getting big breakdowns in the technical structure? If you're interested in following this crazy asset with us, make sure to click on that subscribe button. We make these videos multiple times a week, covering every opportunity that we see in the market. We combine our expertise in technical analysis and fundamental analysis to look for the highest probability trades in the market. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I want to start off by quickly taking a look at the options open interest on Bitcoin. This is the amount of bets that are made on Bitcoin, the number of options, whether that's to the long or to the short side, that are being purchased. And you can see what we've seen throughout the past couple of years here, ever since the big rally that we saw throughout 2020, is that options open interest tends to go up with the price. As there's a lot of excitement around the price appreciation on Bitcoin, you see the options open interest rise as a lot of traders are making bets on the asset. But when the price is tanking and investors are scared and uncertain about what's going to be happening in the future, all of a sudden the options open interest goes down massively. That's what we saw throughout the summer. Between June and July of 2021, we had the options open interest very, very low compared towards the highs here. So a big drop in speculation from retail investors. And then again, we had the same phenomenon in 2021 here during the rally, big rise in the options open interest. Now, what I find interesting about this chart here is that you can see throughout this period of correction on Bitcoin, it already went down around 20-30% throughout this period here. Bitcoin went from around $66,000 to $46,000. So that's a big drop, and the options open interest was not going down significantly. It's only recently in this last drop here that we've seen it come down significantly. So that's a big shift in the market environment. We've gone from an area with a lot of speculative bets to an area where a lot of those bets have been wiped out, and we're really working with a clean slate here. A similar type of development to what we saw in September of 2021, where all of a sudden here you had a big wipeout of the options open interest here, and just a couple of days later we had Bitcoin begin to rise significantly. Now let's quickly take a look at the relationship between Bitcoin and the stock market. Now, this is something we've talked about before. There is an undeniable correlation between Bitcoin and the US stock market. Now that makes sense, right? As when you have an environment where assets go up, stocks go up, Bitcoin goes up, everything tends to go up. That's a favorable macro environment. So for example, throughout the 2016 to 2017 bull run in equities, you also had a bull run in Bitcoin. And then as we had this period of volatility in equities, you had a big bear market on Bitcoin. So let's quickly take a look at what's happening on the stock market a little bit closer. If you've been watching our videos on the stock market over the past couple of weeks, you'll know that we do have a little bit more of a bearish stance. We obviously had the Federal Reserve make a 180-degree turn on their monetary policy announcements. Now, while that typically doesn't derail the stock market, it does tend to create a little bit of volatility. We've seen that many times throughout history. In 2004, in the 1990s, the average drawdown when you have that type of shift in monetary policy is around an 8 to 10% drawdown. And that, combined with the fact that we've seen a big divergence between the rally throughout 2021 and the breadth of the SP 500, that tells me that the stock market itself is a little bit vulnerable right now to that type of correction. So could that mean that as we see this correction on the SP 500, we continue to see Bitcoin consolidate near support? That's possible. right? Now, if you take a look at this chart that we had at the beginning of the video, this is a beautiful price channel on Bitcoin that takes so many beautiful reactions along the way. Weekly candlestick closes acting as support and resistance all the way through. This is the type of price channel that you really want to be paying attention to. It timed the bottom of the summer 2021 correction beautifully. And you can see here the price of Bitcoin is currently sitting just above that level of support. So the true support level is around, $37,000 to $39,000. Could the SP 500 volatility make us briefly dip into that zone before heading higher? That's very possible. But when you take a look at measures like the Bitcoin entity adjusted dormancy flow, this is a very interesting metric here. That's another way of looking at what the smart money is doing. And that's something that we absolutely love to do on this channel and on our website at gameoftrades.net. It's one of the fundamental driving factors behind the thesis that we have on all of our trades, all of our investments. We want to be the smart money. And so this indicator calculates how old are the coins that are being sold on the market right now. If the ratio is incredibly elevated, it means the smart money is booking a lot of profits. And so typically that happens when price rises a lot. You tend to see the smart money book a lot of profits, right? It happens systematically on big moves up in Bitcoin's price. But what we're paying attention to is this green zone here. And it seems that every time that the dormancy flow goes into that green zone, it tells us that the number of smart hands, old coins that are being sold is incredibly low relative to the market cap of Bitcoin. And it does seem to time bottoms beautifully every single time. And you can see that ratio is currently sitting in the green zone. So when I see a chart like this with very, very strong price channel support just below us and the dormancy flow getting into the green zone, it tells me that the risk reward is starting to get really good on Bitcoin right now. In fact, on our most recent crypto article, we talked about this specific measure. We obviously take a look at a bunch of different metrics on chain, the macro intermarket analysis. We backtest all the indicators relative to different time periods and assess how good they are at predicting price behavior. And then we actually give at the end of the article a rating on Bitcoin. We do that systematically. And this is the first time we've had ratings that are this strong. Strong buy, strong buy across the board since the summer of 2021, where we also gave strong buy readings across the board in June and July of 2021. Now, speaking of the stock market breadth, I want to quickly cover one more thing here. We're going to put that chart of the S&P 500 stocks above their 200-day moving average on top of Bitcoin. And hopefully this is going to help us understand on a deeper level the relationship between stocks and Bitcoin. And I want you to pay attention to these oversold readings right here, where a large part of the stocks on the S&P 500 are crashing. A large part of them are trending down, and that's when you get those oversold readings. What happens to Bitcoin every time you get this type of reading? You get a big buying opportunity on Bitcoin. This happens systematically, and this is just such a beautiful way of looking at Bitcoin and its relationship to the stock market. When you have an extremely oversold stock market, it means the macro environment is bad. It means most assets are falling. It means liquidity is tight. And it tends to mean that Bitcoin is in a very oversold position, just like the stock market, and it's time to be entering back into the market. Now, I think if we have a correction on the stock market over the next couple of weeks, it could take this indicator here of the stocks above their 200-day moving average into very low values here. Now, I don't think we're going to go into deeply oversold territory because I don't think we're going to get that type of correction considering all the liquidity that we have in the market right now. But it could prove to be one big mid-cycle buy opportunity on both the stock market and on Bitcoin. Now, I did say I'd take a look at a bearish development, and that is the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance has been going down steadily over the past couple of weeks. If we take a look at Bitcoin's price on top of this, you can see what typically happens before a big bottom is that you have a rising Bitcoin dominance. It happened during the summer. It happened right here in September. You had a rising Bitcoin dominance leading into that bottom on Bitcoin. Again, same thing here, bottom on Bitcoin, you have a rising dominance. In September of 2020, you have a bottom on Bitcoin as you see the dominance rise. So that's really something that we're looking at very carefully. We want to see the Bitcoin dominance rise again. It is at significant support here, but we haven't seen the uptrend that we're really looking for to identify a bottom on Bitcoin. So that's something that we're still waiting for confirmation on Bitcoin. Now, that's about all I wanted to cover in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to click on that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, in the meantime, I wish you good luck on your trading and see you next time.